Okay, so it's possible that I might get fired about the things that I'm about to reveal in this video. So it's been a good ride. No hard feelings. Let's do this. So I've mentioned in the past that I work as a consultant, and it's a very interesting job, and it's something that I enjoy doing sometimes, and a lot of times I just flat out. But the opportunity it gives me is to see all kinds of companies from different, markets, different types of jobs, different types of companies with different types of philosophies, and it's very interesting in that sense. And I see a lot of things that sort of remind me why I think that we're all just a bunch of wage slaves and we don't even see it. Now, I've made videos about this. I've been sometimes criticized that I compare today's society with ancient Egypt, where slaves built the pyramid. And I get these comments like, oh, those weren't real slaves. It has been debunked that those weren't slaves. They were actually free laborers or whatnot. And, there is a lot of evidence to support this and stuff like that. But I think that they were slaves in one way or the other. They just didn't know it. And I think it's the same thing here today. We basically live to work, and it should be the other way around. I work to live. There's a difference there. But it seems that the way I spend my time, most of my time and most of my energy goes to work. Now, I've mentioned before that I'm a crypto millionaire and I don't really have to work. And it's only partially true. Like, I could quit my job and be absolutely fine for at least 2 or 3 years or so. But in reality, when you've made a little bit of money, you realize how freaking poor you are. Like, I don't think that most people realize how insanely poor they are. Most people live in a reality, and it doesn't matter if you live like in some piss poor farm in China or in a rich neighborhood here in Sweden. Most people can't afford a month's work of like to miss a month's work of salary, and in some situations a week works of salary, and in some really sad situations, they can't afford one day's work of salary. That's how dependent we are on our paychecks. We have no idea how to make passive incomes, streams, and stuff like that. But it's changing. I think with social media, with content creators and stuff like that, people are starting their podcasts, their web shops, and I'm just excited about that part of the future. It's really awesome and amazing. Again, I'm not gonna work forever. I'm certainly not gonna work until the age of retirement or anything like that. In fact, if I could pick, like, let's say I work for a living as a YouTuber, then my goal would be to work until I'm 80, because this isn't work for me. I enjoy it that much. And so I would just like to do this forever and ever. But with work, it's like, God damn it, I can't wait until I retire. So work is really bad. But there is something I wanted to talk about today, and I work as a consultant, so the event that I'm going to mention, you can't really apply it to any company that I've worked at, because I worked at so many companies, and in order to protect myself, let's say that this event is not real. It's just a hypothetical situation that I'm sort of creating for the purpose of this video based on some experience that I've had in different workplaces. Okay, so this is not based on one unique person. So every once in a while you get like a new manager, and when you get like a new manager, they have this idea that they're going to improve a lot of things, and they're gonna, they've been hired to do a specific line of work because the higher ups, they've hired them in order to create more profit, more efficiency, or something like that. And they go into this job thinking that they're going to do just that. They're going to make work more effective for the workers and create more profit for the companies and basically for the owners, so that fancy people can afford to eat at nicer lunch places, restaurants, Michelin stars restaurants and stuff like that. So it's a very empty ambition and goal if you really think about it. Now, I respect people who do it for the money. Like, if you're working hard and you do it in order to get money, in order to get something out of it, then I get it. I respect it, sort of. But when you have people that really act the part like they are working day and night in order to improve efficiency and profit for a company, that's when I start to lose respect. So I'm not sure I know what's worse, that they're pretending to do it or they actually are working night and day in order to, do these improvements and stuff like that. As far as my life is concerned, most bosses that I've dealt with that go into like overdrive and start to improve stuff and do efficiency and do all these efficiency spreadsheets and start to benchmark working hours and making work more effective in order to squeeze out more profit out of every employee. Most people that I've met in those situations, they've been burnt out and they've quit because it's not a very good idea to push yourself to the limits for some company to get more profits. And I've had coworkers also that also push themselves really hard because they are almost religious in the company that they believe in. And then after a few months, they get burnt out and they quit. And I've never actually seen a person who is working really hard and gets out of it fine and without a single gray hair. As far as my life is concerned, as far as my life experience is concerned, it just never ever happens. I have friends and I have coworkers that I've known for a long time as a consultant, and I'm telling you, it's just not going to happen. But we live in this wage slavery society, and these corporate people, they are just pushing things to its limits in order to squeeze out more profit out of every entity. And I'm not talking about just products, but people, making everything as efficient as possible. But at what end? What expense? Like, what is the purpose of that? Well, the purpose is always, always the same. In order to get like a pat on the head, good job, we just made more millions. And again, just because the owners of the company could afford to eat at a nicer restaurant, which is probably stupid because they probably already can eat wherever they want to for as long as they want to. They are probably liquid and set for life. So a lot of people are just making money because they enjoy the purpose of it. They like to turn companies inside out in order to squeeze more money out of it. Warren Buffett is a good example. He's in his 90s. He's doing really good, always has. And he's still doing it, and I'm not going to mention which company, but I've actually worked at one of those companies that he bought and sort of chewed up in order to get more profit out of. And he turned that company into a place from people actually enjoying go to work to a place where 70% getting laid off and the rest doing all the work for those 70% that quit or got laid off. And so it's sad to me that some people just do it for the efficiency of money. Now, you might look at me and say, well, did you just say you're a crypto millionaire? Aren't you making a lot of money on crypto? Well, yeah, I am. And I'm making a lot of money from being very early investing in certain tokens and certain coins. And so I make money because people are greedy. If people weren't greedy, I would not be making money. That's how it works. Some people make a lot of money because I invest in certain cryptos, and I make a lot of people when other people invest in crypto. You can sort of call it a pyramid scheme, and you would be right in every sense of the word. It is a pyramid scheme. It is a scam altogether. But to be completely honest, I would say that society and the corporate world of this planet is pretty much all just a scam. It's all about the profit. When you have a company that just goes like, oh, we're very conscious of the environment. We're very conscious about, equal opportunities for these groups or these sexes and stuff like that. They're not doing it out of the goodness of their hearts. They're doing it to turn profit. Come on. Companies are soulless entities. And when people defend these companies, it just makes me a bit sad, to be completely honest. I'm not a huge fan of big corporate companies, and I'm considering starting my own company someday. And if I did, I probably wouldn't want to hire someone because I just don't want to be in that position. I would start a company in order to work for myself, by myself. Not that there's anything wrong with starting a company and hiring people and just having a good time. I don't know, just something about it. When I see some YouTubers that I admire, when they start to hire people, I just feel like that's not very inspiring, bro. That's not what you should be doing. But I'm not going to judge. That's my problem, just because I don't believe in a certain lifestyle doesn't mean that other people can. So, who's the judge? Certainly not me. I have my flaws. I make mistakes all the time. But yeah, corporations, man, that's a discussion to be had. We need these corporations. I mean, let's face it, we buy these smartphones and these cases for smartphones, we buy these cameras and mouses and microphones, and look at this keyboard by Logitech. Yeah, I'm sure that Logitech built this keyboard just to make life easier for people. No, it was all about the profit. And maybe that sounds a bit cynical. Maybe there's nothing wrong with that maybe that's just the way society works. But I don't know. Sometimes I just feel that people are being taken advantage of. And that's the part that bothers me, I suppose. My wife doesn't have this problem because she doesn't work in the private sector, so to speak. She works as a social welfare worker, in a sense. She helps poor people and stuff like that. She's a very altruistic person, but because of all the bureaucracy and stuff like that, she gets very easily burnt out and she doesn't feel a lot of joy from her work. So that doesn't seem to work either for her. And me, I work in the private sector. Sometimes I work in the public sector also, but mostly it's the private sector. And, I'm not going to sit here and debate which one is better or worse. It seems that both have flaws. But I'm just speaking from my personal experience. Some people maybe do like to go to work. They love their coworkers. They just love the atmosphere. They love working for a common goal. And they don't really care if their hard work just leads to people making more money, They don't care about the fact that they're being used. And used they are. Make no mistake about it. Let's say you work at a company and you get like 20 grand per year. I don't know if that's a lot of money in dollars, but let's say you get $20,000 per year and you think you're making a killing, like you're making a lot of money. No, you're not. Trust me, you are not. The company is making a lot more from that time you spent working for those $20,000. And what's even more sad, and I mentioned this before, is that you only get paid for the time put in. You don't get paid out from the passive income streams that your hard work generated. It's sort of like an artist that puts in the time to sing and create an album, and the music company, they pay them a bunch of millions, and the artist is super pleased, but in the next 20 years or so, they don't get like royalties and stuff like that. I'm not saying that's always the case. A lot of artists do get royalties, but I'm just saying that a lot of music companies, they pretty much screw artists all the time. That sounded wrong. That sounded kinky, but you know what I mean. Anyway, just wanted to share my thoughts on the corporate situation of the world. Happy 2022.